I was raised in the Christian tradition and in the Episcopal Church. And so my prayer practice has been very liturgical, very word oriented, and words and actions and singing and all of that, and mostly, private prayer, silent words with God, and then shared worship on Sundays. And then I discovered meditation, secular, I guess, Buddhist and rooted meditation in 2006 when I was going through a really terrible depression. And I went to, someone recommended that I go to a workshop called mindfulness based stress reduction. And you might have heard of that, but John Kabat-Zinn. And so I went to a weekend retreat and I discovered that meditation was really helpful for me dealing with the, the chronic pain of depression and sitting alongside it rather than pushing against it and living with it. So then I started feeling better, made various changes in my life, got through that depression, and then used my meditation cushion as a footrest while I worked obsessively in the business world and forgot all about that meditation thing. Then I felt called more and more into active, I love church, so I felt very called to eventually ordained ministry. And so I am now in seminary to become an Episcopal priest. And so that's my church affiliation. And as I grew more involved in church and moving into the discerning a path toward ordained ministry, I needed more for my prayer practice. I needed a way to um, connect with God through my heart and not just my head. And so I remembered meditation, and I was wondering how I found out about centering prayer. I don't remember exactly. It must have been a practitioner mentioned it to me that there is a Christian tradition of centering prayer. And because I was really craving silence and stillness. And so I started, it was a good friend of mine gave me one of Keating's Open Heart, Open Mind book. And I've still not gotten all the way through that book, I'm afraid to admit. But I started the practice. And so about 8 years ago, I started daily practice with centering prayer. I then, through my calling to ordained ministry, is especially to people who are incarcerated or living without shelter. And so I have done other volunteer work inside of the women's prison through an organization called Kairos, because I feel so drawn to people who are experiencing incarceration. Then I found Kairos to be too structured and all of that. And I wondered if there was a way to practice centering prayer in the prison. And around that time, Holding Still came out. And a friend of mine at church told me about Holding Still, thought I would love it, the documentary. And so that was really life changing and made me very inspired to find a practice, and which JoAnn had just taken over at Denver Women's. And so I got involved in that.